thought I wrote the perfect mini-me's, but needless to say. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I'm really excited about sharing the message that I've been wanting to share with a lot of women, and I felt like I accidentally hit that. So, but we're going to be talking about branding yourself to market yourself, and that's so important today, especially when we have so many different platforms that we can put ourselves out towards. So we're going to talk about the foundations, and I'm going to tell like one really embarrassing story, and we'll go from there. But a little bit more about me. I'm still learning how this works. Okay, there we go. All right, so I started as a photographer. I've been a photographer for over 18 years. Actually, I was pregnant with my daughter when I had my first wedding. I was photographing, and I did weddings for about 10 years. And then it just wasn't conducive for my family life because I was booked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that I decided to transition into commercial photography, editorial, and marketing photography. And so that's the usual 9 to 5, which is great because that's when people work. But this is me back in my wedding days. And I really enjoyed working with people, learning about families, learning about what made people just happy, and what, put that light in their eyes. And for a lot of us, and I think it's like me, business actually kind of keeps us driven. Like, we're like, oh my gosh, I gotta keep doing this. It's like a drug, right? We love it so much. So I actually, a little bit more about me. I absolutely love to travel. This is me in Singapore. I was blonde once. Not a good look for me. This is a recent photo of me and the kids in Malcolm in Chichen Itza. And me at the studio. And then this is me and my kids in an editorial. We're in a magazine for Houston Magazine. So I work closely with Houston Magazine, and it's been a wonderful experience. I've worked with a lot of business owners, a lot of boutiques, and so I really enjoy the editorial side of things, but I also really enjoy creating marketing photography for smaller businesses, especially women-owned businesses. That's like my niche. And roll it. Okay. Like my little. So using my skill set in what I do with Houston Studio, I decided when I moved to Kingwood we're coming up to 2 years next month actually, that I wanted to start an association of women and kind of use my abilities to be able to help women in the digital marketing arena. And so I tell this story a lot, especially at Kingwood Businesswoman, is where I moved to the area and I really didn't know anybody. And it takes a lot to try to get out and put yourself out there. You don't know where to go. I didn't know about American Businesswomen Association, y'all. I would have come here first. So it was one of those things where I just had a couple glasses of wine and started an Instagram, and I'm like, Kingwood Businesswomen, y'all. Okay, this is happening. This is happening. And so the next day I woke up and I found that we had 500 followers. And that spoke to me. And that meant that this is something that women are, because I'm Latino American, and it said to me that people of color and people that are women, minorities, we need to be represented, and we need to know that there's other women out there that need help in digital marketing. We don't want to feel alone. That's why we're together here tonight, right? So not to feel alone, we all face the same struggles. How many of us wear all the hats of your company? Raise your hand. Okay, we all the hats, right? Some of us are able to outsource, but it's rare and few in between. But it's wonderful that we get to experience so many things, and when we come together, we get to learn about business skills and things like that. So Kingwood Businesswomen, we are very much a part of the community, and we try to help with nonprofits as much as we possibly can when our schedule allows. But we also, this is us at the last year at the 4th of July. We're gonna do it again this year, so be on the lookout for the Kingwood 4th of July. We're also within the Pink. We're helping out there. We're doing Pink Drink in October, so be on the lookout for that as well. And we're also a member of the Partnership Lake Houston. And so a lot going on. We had our first event last year, 2022, Business and Brunch, and it sold out. And we did it again this year, and it sold out again, and almost 200 elements. So it was very, very fun. I think when you dangle mimosas, they just come calling, right? They just come, it's like dinner bell. So that's a little bit about me, about being a businesswoman. Scroll, that's right.
Yeah.
Scroll down.
I don't remember. Towards you, I think.
Scrolling.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. There you go.
Here we go. All right. So what we're going to be talking about is about branding. And what we have here is something I came up with earlier today, actually. I had this epiphany this morning. Did I not, Malcolm? I woke up at what, 3 o'clock this morning, and I go, I know, it all makes sense. Build it and they will come, right? So branding is the message and vision you share so it can find and attract the right people. It's the mother of marketing. Yeah, I know it sounds profound, but like I literally just wrote that like 3 hours ago. But it got me thinking about some of the things that my own mother has said. And it was interesting because when I look back into my life, there were so many things that made me the woman I am today. And one of those things were the embarrassing things my parents used to say. And we're about to go into that story. Malcolm, I don't think you've ever heard this story, so I'm really excited about this. And so you're gonna, let me see, here you go. All right, so you're probably wondering why there's a VW Autobus, am I right? That's an Autobus, yeah, on this screen. Well, when I moved, my dad was in the Army. And we moved duty station to duty station every 2 years. So moving to someplace new is very familiar to me, and I enjoy it very much so. And when we moved to Clayton County, Rex, Georgia, my parents decided to buy this spaceship. And, and I was like, what is this? It was the craziest thing. It's exactly this model, the half whatever blue da-da-da-da with the flip thingies, and you could sit so many people. We fit so many people in it just to go to the beach and things like that in Savannah. So it was a wonderful thing, but it was very embarrassing when they would drop me off at school. When everybody else had a Range Rover and a Porsche or whatever their parents were driving, and it was so nice, and we were showing up here. My mom, obviously, I think I told you earlier, very romantic lifestyle, right? So she had this idea that we would just like pedal through things, a little road trip there and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, are we going to Vietnam? Like, are we anti-protesting the war? I mean, like seriously. So it's like, Rex, Georgia is literally the opposite of Woodstock. So it's like light years. So getting dropped off from school, getting out of the car, getting put on my backpack, of course I'm gonna act like I don't know this car at all. Hey y'all, what's up? You okay, girl? Yeah. And I remembered that I left the window down, and you know how you do that? You remember that? He left the window down because the air conditioning was broken, right? Don't worry. So, as soon as I remembered that happened, and my mom was like infamous for making like really corny jokes or just trying to embarrass me, period. She yells out the window, hold on, come on. Remember who you are! And like everyone's looking like, who is that? And I don't know who that is, I don't know. And you run, right? You just like get out there. I don't know who can relate to this story, whose mother was actually also kind of embarrassing in middle school. I mean, I think any parent, I mean, you're about to go into middle school, Molly, and sometimes I embarrass you, right? A little bit. Their eyes are really big. And the next thing is she just saw the sheer like redness, terror on my face. I mean, even thinking about it this morning at 3 a.m., I'm sure that's called a nightmare. I was like getting flushed, but then next she follows up with, make good choices. like, seriously, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is like the worst thing. And I grew up Mormon, so in that kind of thing, it meant something else. It meant like, don't try to do this and stay away from there and you know, all these things. And so it was just super embarrassing because no one else's mom was yelling outside the Range Rover or Porsche. Like, they weren't saying anything. So, well, soon my mom came home, like afterwards my mom came home. Of course, she told my dad how much fun she had dropping me off at school. So of course he wants to get in on this. You choose your friends. They don't choose you, says Dad, next time he drops me off at school, right? Well, like, obviously he didn't shout out the window, because he's like he's military, so he's like, I just want to have a talk with you. You don't choose, like, you choose your friends. They don't choose you, okay? And I'm like, okay, yeah, Dad, you're like being weird right now. So it's just been such an interesting, but when I thought about branding this morning, these things came to me as foundations to what we are going to talk about today, and foundations of branding and marketing. One goes into the other, that's for sure. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about Houston Studio and what I do. Houston Studio I actually started it about 2 years ago. I was just a freelance photographer for 18 years, like I said, and it was time for me to really make this something bigger than it was. It was time for me to work with other photographers, teach other photographers, mentor other photographers, work with businesses and help them elevate their brands, elevate their marketing, and really make it so that they can drive their sales to people that they wanted to target. Really important to me. So here's a little behind the scenes of me working with a linen company, and we worked together throughout probably a month, creating a scene that we would work with, like a whole set, creating the location, what is everyone gonna wear, what are the props, and because they were a linen company, we brought in raw linens, things that haven't been cut yet, and we had them pose, and obviously this was a minute ago because I was a lot skinnier, a lot younger, less wrinkles, but it was so fun and I really enjoyed it, and that's what really kicked off Houston Studio. I said, this is what I have to be doing every time, working with women-owned businesses. So today, this is actually a recent photo shoot. I work with building the mood board and creating their brand identities. And that's how it starts. I actually help with the logos, create the logos, create the fonts, create the mood board, the font colors and the codes. And then we take that, create a whole mood board of inspiration shots from Pinterest that we like, everything we've seen on Google, our favorite, whoever you like in the industry and aspire to be like, and then we create imagery behind that. This imagery is meant to be used for, here we go, her website. So this is the accounting agency, and she is a Kingwood businesswoman now. After we've worked together, she is absolutely in love with Kingwood businesswomen, and she used, I created her website with her, and we did stock photography. Custom stock photography is huge, and the reason why it's so important to do it is because Google loves new things. Out with the old, in with the new. Google's gonna crawl to put you up on a listing higher on the first page if you have new imagery or new data or new information or new copy. That's so important. It kind of, if Google sees that you have stuff on your website that it's been used over and over again, maybe it's just a general stock photography you can get from Evanto or some other place, or you stole it from some place on Google, it's just gonna throw it to the back. So it's important that you have something unique and be ahead of your industry. And that's what Houston Studio is about. It's about placing you as an industry leader and making sure that you set the tone for your business and your aesthetics and what you're doing. She also used it for, like, I had to be corny. Wow, that's like how you use it. So she actually used a lot of the brand photo shoot that we did for all of her social media, as you can see. So this is actually, I screenshotted that today, and that's current. So she used it for all of her little things. And on Canva, it makes it so easy for you to just plug in little, like, gorgeous aesthetics and plug in little fonts and things like that, whatever you want to talk about. And that way you can promote yourself. It makes it super easy. And you can take the background away, and you can add the background, or you can, I don't know, make it a little bit more, see how that one's like a little bit faded. You can do all sorts of things utilizing Canva or Adobe Photoshop if you know how to do that, but Adobe now has like more stuff you can do, like Canva, they're competing now. So we created, from her photo shoot, I had an artist do this background. I hired an artist to create this background and paint it for the photo shoot so that we can incorporate it to her pictures. So because that was really important to have this like Sedona vibe a little bit. She loved it. So I wanted to do like a quick look into this because if we dissect it, it shows that we click on that one and it opens up. Here's a sample of what she has. And I really, really love that she is incorporating different pictures, the different backgrounds into her information. She's creating value and sharing information about her industry and what she does, and also sharing knowledge so that way you already feel connected. And that's something that we discussed in her consultation, so it was really important. And she really held on to that. She loved it, and she went with it. And now everything she does is absolutely just gorgeous. Oh, that's not that one. Sorry. Okay, so, all right, so creating a brand for a clear marketing message is extremely important. So when we're creating our brand, we need to keep some things in mind. And the number one thing I would start with is establishing your mission statement. So I don't know if everyone here has done that before because I'm messing with this. I'm gonna put it down. Establishing your mission statement. I know it's difficult. I went years without creating one, but it's super important, and you can change it over the year. You know, come back and zhuzh it, but it's super important to know who you are as a brand. If you don't know who you are as a brand, how can anyone else expect to understand your message, right? So that goes, actually, you know what? That's why I'm thrown off, because it went too far. Okay, there we go. All right, so back to what my mom said, right? Sorry about that. Remember who you are translates to who you are as a brand and what you envision for your brand. So if we don't know who we are, then how can we expect anyone else to? Yeah, that's how it's supposed to go. Here's an example of a recent full branding session that I did when it comes to assets, for brand assets. We start with looking at their inspiration, looking at logos that they like, and then we create the logo, we create other logo assets, put them in different colors, so that way you can use them against different images. You know how, like sometimes you have like a dark something on and you can't really see it with your dark logo? So it's important to create different types of variations of it. We have the color code here with all the numbers, so that way your web designer knows what to do. If I'm not going to design your website, then at least someone else knows what colors they are. We can all stay on point. Your social and your buttons that you're going to use are also within your color code. And then you have your letterhead and how that works, business card. Any patterns that you're going to use for either your website, the back of your business card, whatever you like to do. You know, it's really up to you. She used it right here for her, the back of her business card, so it looks really nice. And Connie can help you with this, right, Connie? And then kind of like a social media aesthetics, what that's gonna look like. Of course, we go deeper into that, but we won't do that today. Okay, back to the top of the slide. All right, so knowing who you are starts with a mission statement. All right, Know your brand personality. How do I describe this? A brand personality, at least for Houston Studio and Kingwood Businesswoman, are totally two different things. I would describe Houston Studio as editorial, edgy, modern. Yeah, that's really, I mean, those are my favorite words. They can be words that you make up too. You don't have to, they can be very unique to you. I don't know, like kitschy or zhuzhed. I knew it was coming. Or zhuzhed. So it's really up to you. You just have to know who you are. It's unique to you, and it will come through in your aesthetic, and it will connect with other people. So it's important to know. And as you can see, green is like my thing. So that's like another thing. So green because like I want to help other people make more money too, right? I heard that. Know your core values. And it's interesting that this is a part of it because earlier today, me and Malcolm were talking. He came home from work today, and he was discussing about a meeting that he had about, he works for Phillips 66, and they were just talking about their core values. Even large corporations talk about their core values all the time. It resonates, it has to trickle down, it has to come from the top, and it has to be here. It's about there. And their biggest one was about trust within the company. And I thought that was really in depth. I was like, whoa, you can do that? You can like call trust, okay. And so, but for most companies, integrity is a word that a lot of people use. That's really important. Honesty, I like the word trust. Modern, whatever your core values are, you know, make sure you identify with them yourself. That way it's unique and true. And then my favorite, selecting your brand aesthetic. Selecting your brand aesthetics. I love fashion. So Houston Studios vibe is very fashionista, very like edgy, very straight. And so it's really important that things come out. And I'm also very versatile, so I understand lots of different fashion arenas. So it works for me to work with a lot of other women to help them with their aesthetics. And when we're talking about aesthetics, we're not just talking about fashion. Well, you know, what are your inspirations? And if your inspiration is, you know, Anna Wintour and Vogue, then we need to pull that into your website. We need to pull that into what you're doing, your brand aesthetics. Is it black and white photography? Well, then let's pull that in, because we see that with Ranch Water. Ranch Water does black and white photography. I don't know, you spend a lot of time in the alcohol arena, but I do. And so I study a lot of the things. I can't not help myself going through the grocery store and looking at all the different kinds of brand aesthetics. So that's something that we have to consider is the aesthetics, because when you people are funneling through your social media, they want to make sure that they're at the right spot, that they're at the right website. And if the website doesn't look like the social media or the LinkedIn group page or the Facebook group page or whatever it is, or your sponsored post, they're not too sure. You've already almost lost them. So it's important to keep those aesthetics so they know they're in the right place. Okay, the second fundamental that, you know, thanks Mom, make good choices. That translates to selecting your content pillars, your core offerings, and which marketing platforms you consistently can show up to. So that's important. The last one, we're gonna get to that one. I love that one. Content pillars. We're gonna talk about that. For example, Kingwood Businesswoman. I'm gonna show you what Kingwood Businesswoman does. But here are the fundamentals of what I choose for my content. And it's gonna be promotional, educational, community, entertainment, and engagement. And you have to select what you're gonna show about. This doesn't have to be yours. Yours can be anything. But it's about what your engagement's gonna feel like, what you're gonna create, what's the value you're gonna give to your viewer, and why they're gonna continue to come back. It's gonna be because of your pillars. It actually also helps you create better strategy, makes it easier throughout the week when you're trying to make a post and you're like, I don't know what I should do. This helps a lot, knowing what you should do. So, Kingwood Businesswoman, instead of the first slide we did, we would do member promotional opportunities. This means that I am going to repost what they post since we have been growing our following. We have a huge audience, and so I want to make sure that they get visibility. We also do business education. So I post content that talks about tips. Maybe it talks about accounting, maybe it talks about marketing, things that people have questions about, because I get a lot of DMs about business stuff. I want to make sure that I answer those through my social and through my website as well. Member events. I'm showing these member events and I'm showing off that we are doing cool things and we get together and we do networking and it's so awesome, you should come, I'm just saying. And we have videos and reels, and that's going to be part of the entertainment. And the entertainment is so fun because now they're feeling that sort of engagement. They're seeing that you are very, very proactive, and so that's really important to your viewer. And then the last one is lifestyle and inspiration. So lifestyle and inspiration, I'll show photos of me writing in my journal, and it might be a wellness journal, it might be a business journal, it might be my get rich journal. I have love journals. I don't have problems, guys, I just have journals. I should put that on a t-shirt, that was good. I just came up with that one.
We can do that for you too.
Yeah, I don't have problems, I just have journals, I love it. Okay, so we're talking about organizing your brand services. And so when we're talking about the 4 quadrants, I like to split it up to make it really easy. And one leads into the other, and I'm about to show you how. So you have your lead magnet, your entry offer, upsell, and main offer. And as I'm going through this, you're probably gonna start like relating it to something you've seen. You're like, ah, that's how they got me. That's why I have all the Bath and Body Works stuff. All right, so the lead magnet, if you don't have one already, it's an email funnel usually. So when they come across your stuff in social media, it's the thing is like, hey, if you sign up for this, we'll give you a discount, or you'll get a free lotion, whatever your purchase, I don't know. Or you get a free download, and that download has meat to it. It's valuable, it gives you something, and it asks it to help you, and it answers a question that you needed answered. All right, that leads into, once they go there, they're already signed up, and for a little bit of money, just a tiny bit of money, a little investment, you get an even better product, another download, or a service offer that's better than the entry offer, right? So this will be, let's say, for $7, you're gonna get everything I know about branding photography. Well, heck, for $7, how many, $7 times 100 in one day? That's $700 a day, right? Right? So I think that, that itself, you're making money as you sleep. So that's gonna be really important. So that's something you can do today, tomorrow, and get it done, and still have, you can make it about vitamins, you can make it about anything. It's about knowledge that you have, that someone else doesn't, that needs it right now. And so you can get that to them. And then from there, my favorite one, Malcolm loves this word now because I use it a lot, upsell. Connie's going, yep. An upsell. Upsell is great because you're showing them something that they didn't know they needed. Let's be honest. They didn't know they needed it, and it's gonna make their life a whole lot easier. You just solved their problem. Something they didn't realize was gonna be an unforeseeable roadblock for them. But you told them about it. Well, when you get there, just in case, here you go. And when you get there, come right back, I'll help you out, right? Oh yeah, and you could do like that. You can like show off an a la carte, like, hey, for another here, you can get this, or a minimum sale, you get free shipping. I know we have a few e-commerce people in here, so that's another way to do that. All right, all of it leads up to the ultimate package. And I think we've all been to a website where you kind of got there little by little, and then you see the ultimate package. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can get keto all year for this much? Okay, clickbait, I'm gonna hit that. So, I mean, that's where you want to get them. And really, ultimately, you work less to get there. Not as hard, because you kind of traveled with the same client the entire way. You're not taking a new client off the street to bring them here. You're taking this one on a journey, a customer journey, to get them there. And now you've got a customer for life. All right, so this is me looking, like I said, something profound and stuff, all woke and stuff. Marketing isn't, I added an S to that. Marketing isn't, I didn't mean to do that. It isn't your website, it isn't Instagram, it isn't Pinterest, which is a great way, it's like a little Google. It isn't networking, it isn't Facebook groups or Twitter, threads, magazine ads, or sponsored posts. It isn't. You know what those are? Those are marketing outlets. They are only outlets. They are nothing without your branding, without your content pillar, without your mission statement, without your energy behind it. They're absolutely nothing. You can keep throwing spaghetti at a wall, but nothing will catch. And it will all just kind of seem like it's off until you align with your brand. This will all make sense completely. And then, great old dad, you choose your friends, they don't choose you. Translates to, choose your dream clients, the kind you desire to work with. Now raise your hand if you've ever experienced a problematic client. Okay, double hands for Connie, double hands. And I'm not saying it's because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. It's not that. Sometimes we just get this. You're gonna get those no matter what. But I find that I found less in the wedding industry when I defined what type of photography, what my aesthetics were, what my brand was about. I had more clients, customers, that were so pleased, treated me with utmost respect. Like, oh my God, I have Anna Libowitz here. No, I am not. But they treated me like that because they knew what they were getting. The expectation was there, and they were extremely pleased when they got the results. So you get to choose. You're in charge of who you bring to your shop, or your website, or your social media. You get to choose that. So the best way for us to speak to that person is to remember you're talking to one person about one problem and one call to action. Simplified. We don't have to say too much. Saying too much muddles up the message. Clean and concise. And you know what does that better than anything? What's that famous saying? A picture is worth 1,000 words. A lot of times people will click off a website because they just aren't engaging with it. There's too much to read, or it doesn't translate. The picture looks too stock, and maybe it's not really as boutique as they want first-hand attention. I know everybody wants first-hand attention. We all want to be the only customer, right? But truth is, we have to get on with our day, but it's good to be able to give them that feel that they are the only customer for them. So quality is very important. All right, so when we're talking to that one person, we're gonna identify certain parts of the demographic that we wanna engage in. There's a whole demographic thing, and it's super fun to go through. My notebook, my workbook that I actually work with my clients, it's so pretty, and they don't wanna mess it up, but I'm like, scribble all over it, because it's just, you really have to dissect and know who you're talking about, who you're talking to. And the Houston studio client, they are business owners. They are business owners that make mistakes and then pick themselves up again. They are the type that want exposure, and they're thirsty, and they love what they do, and they know that business isn't a winning game. It's just an amazing lifestyle that you get to be in charge of. And so I'm really excited when I work with them. But we have to dissect who we're talking to, so the language and the pictures and everything aligns. So we have to talk about, how old are they? Do they live only in Kingwood? Are we talking about a national atmosphere? When we market to everyone, you market to no one. So it's really important to dissect that. This is, I just threw that photo in just to mess with y'all. It's me singing karaoke. So just make sure you're paying attention. The Houston studio client is also a business owner that is cultured. She's very sophisticated. She likes trying all sorts of things once, at least once, right? And so that person's kind of like me, and so we kind of speak the same language. So it makes it so that the expectation, the language is the same. And it's not saying that I only work with people that are similar to me. It just means that I connect with them better, and so I can give them what they need more, right? And so we want to make sure we know their personality style. What do they like? What are their interests? And then the most important thing, and this is always the way to seal the deal, is identify with their problem. Not that they have problems, they just have a wall, that there's some kind of blockade and they need to get around it. And so you have to speak to them and be like I said earlier, here is what I can do for you. Oh, when you get there, this is what you're going to face. Let me help you with educating you on what's going to happen, because I've been there a time or two. And so that's really important to them. Whatever it is that's important to them. I'm sure we're all great conversationalists, we can all find out. And so I'm wrapping it up. All right, so getting a clear understanding of who your target audience is and what they need from you will also allow you to serve them better. So important. I love that. But that's the end of my thing, so I'm glad you guys didn't really care. What I want to leave with you is that quality is always the best business plan. And giving back to your community is also, like, when you feel like you're giving all the time. I know I feel exhausted sometimes, but it's actually been like I get opportunities like this, and I get to meet so many of you and many women that I get to connect with, and I know that I'm not alone, so I get so much more than I give. So thank you so much for listening to me.